Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and it's that time already that me and these start to lose our minds and get distracted by the magic and lure of European football. Now granted, it isn't necessarily the European football we all hoped it would be before a ball was kicked this season, as we were heavily reliant on that Champions League moolah to supply the rest of the funds to complete a summer rebuild so we could get rid of a lot of the duffers, but nevertheless, troops, we are here with some European magic and we've experienced some incredible highs due to this competition, and now if it's shaked up, gives us a fresh look at it, and if I'm honest with you, the Europa League tune's better anyway, so for me, that's what matters. Who needs 40 million when you've got dancing cats? Am I right, guys? Anyway, moving on with the actual video, we have Malmo versus Rangers. That's what we're here to discuss today. A very interesting rivalry / history between the two sides. We've seen a lot of them being frustrated by some of them. What will this little version bring us? Will it bring us another twist in the tail, or will it make us very, very happy? Let's go ahead and try to find out then, shall we? And as always, we're going to start off with the old oppositional preview. And as we go ahead and discuss today's video, if you don't mind hitting that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. And hitting that subscription button. We're doing tremendous lately in terms of subscribers to the channel. We're closing in on 65k already. We're only a couple months into the season, so thank you so much for your support. And hell, if you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button if you're already subscribed, as it helps other people find the old channel. But enough YouTube isms, as it's on me to earn that like, so let's go ahead and try to do that, shall we? And we'll start off with the oppositional preview and discuss the Swedish side Malmo, who, to no surprise to anyone watching today's video, at my current time of recording, sit top in Swedish football. Something they usually dominate. And there is no shock and surprise in me sitting here looking you directly in the eyes and telling you that this side not only sits top in Swedish football, they also sit a whopping 11 points clear through 24 games their domestic season. That's right, that's how many games they've already played. You know what I mean? We've heard a lot about Clement about we'll be better in a couple of months. We're building up towards something. We're building up to that. Well, Malmo's no building up to nothing, ladies and gentlemen, as they're pretty far in to their season. They're no building the fitness up or trying to figure it. They know exactly who they are. Everyone's up, ready and cooking, and they know exactly what they bring to the table. And what that has brought is domination in terms of Swedish football, because not only are they 11 points clear, they've by far scored the most amount of goals, they've conceded the least amount of goals. Their goal difference is 38 plus. Troops, the nearest team to them is 17. That's less than half. That shows you just how truly, utterly dominant this side's been domestically, having last lost a domestic game all the way back in July. However, and there is a very important however that's going to get flung in to today's video, because if I just spoke about that and I just said that nobody would be able to walk, as the arse cheeks would be clenching and worrying about what we're going to be facing in Europe this week. But it does slightly change once you look at the European stage, because once you take them away from their bubble that they utterly dominate in terms of their domestic football, and you throw them in the European space, it has been a completely different story so far, as they also failed in the Champions League qualification just like us. Now, they did get one step further than us after having a dramatic comeback versus PAOK in the last couple of minutes with a goal in the 96th minute to push it to extra time, and then they went ahead and scored with a phenomenal 4-goal performance away from home, as it looked dead and buried after their first game. In that tie was a 2-2 draw. It looked like it was over, you know what I mean, especially at home, having to go there, having to do that, and looking like they were out for so long. Their attacking prowess finally clicked into gear, and again they scored 4 goals away from home to push them to the playoff stage, where unfortunately they just came up short, as they were sort of manhandled both home and away by Sparta Prague, losing 2-0 at home and 2-0 away. And for me, that puts this game in a completely different complexion and sort of changes the narrative, or it should change the narrative, because again, we're not a Swedish side that they can easily bully or dominate. This is in the European stage. They're a bit more even keel, and when that's been the case, they've started to falter, especially with some of their performances at home, having only won 1 of the 3 European games that they've played so far this season, and that was against a team that they should have hammered, and they did, to the scoreline of 4-1. But again, whenever that quality got a little bit close to them, a disappointing 2-2 draw, and then get scurried 2-0 by Sparta Prague, there is definitely something in there to look at and say, you know what? we might have a chance tomorrow. But again, I do have to bring balance to this preview by speaking about them now individually, because I've sort of discussed them overall as a team, but breaking down these have some very interesting and very dangerous players to discuss, led by Erik Botheim, who again is someone we spoke about a lot a couple of years ago. There was rumours or links, but it all turned out to be made up stuff that we were potentially looking at or potentially doing this. Well, Big Botheim has went ahead and started the season off incredibly for Malmo, as he has 14 goals under his belt already, with 6 assists. That's 20 goal contributions already this season, and the man that does lead the line, that also can play out on the left, that can all play on the right, will be one of the most dangerous pieces that we'll have to contain and control tomorrow. And it does bring me up and does make me start to think, like, who's going to be on him, because you have to slow down and stop a guy that's got 20 goal contributions already in his season. For me, the natural one on that's probably going to be Suter, because Eric's got a wee bit about him, he can run about and all that as well. He's very quick off his line, so you're thinking Suter right away. But considering how this laddie plays and the way that Malmo plays, I really wouldn't be surprised if you saw Eric move away for Suter and try and isolate and go after Proper's pace, or lack of, I should say, to try and spin in behind. So that's definitely something I'd be looking at tomorrow. His movement is electric, and that's why he gets so many goals and so many assists. But unfortunately, the one thing you can say about Malmo is it's not Eric or bust so far in terms of their attack, as he's not the only quick one, he's not the only bright spark, as this is a team I'd argue is actually built on pace, especially out in the wide areas, whether they line up in the 3-4-3 or the 5-2-3-1 or the 4-2-3-1, whichever the old stat statistics want to suggest. What it's built today, when the ball's actually getting rolled about the blades of grass, is getting the ball wide, sprinting, hitting long balls out to the wide area, sprinting out wide, and either putting balls in the mixer or holding up, trying to in and getting a shot away from the edge of the box. This is this team's bread and butter. It's built on attack, it's built on going forward, and more importantly, it's built on the pace out on the wide areas, which does make me a little bit nervous knowing our fullbacks are obviously Tavernier, who struggles with that, especially on a 1v1, and Big Jeff, who's played so well over the last couple of games. Again, he's still a young laddie, we know a lot of defensive discipline. They will be targeting them all afternoon, and if our fullbacks didn't win those individual battles, it could be a long frustrating night for us. But where their attack will grab a lot of the headlines, and rightly so, they are a team that scores a lot of goals, and again a team that creates a lot of chances. On the other side isn't too bad either, as they're led by big Pontus Jansson. Some of you may remember from his time at Brentford or Leeds and all that. He's big, he's physical, and that matchup right there on paper is why I think Dessers is going to be starting tomorrow, as he'll get his hands on him. And if Dessers thought he was getting pulled about by Silla at the weekend, just wait for Big Jansen to get his touches on him and pull him air and everything like that. That could be a booking waiting to happen, in my personal opinion. We just need Dessers to go ahead and win that individual battle, as that might be just as important as our two fullbacks winning theirs. And that, for me, is the free key areas of this game. And honestly, that's all I've really got to add regarding this Malmo side that we're going to be facing tomorrow. Now, obviously, we then need to dive into the history of the side and some of the last previous games, but they've always been tough, they've always been competitive, not only with us, but with the other sides of Scottish football as well that they've came up against over the European years, if you will. And the only thing I would add to that was some of the teams that were maybe disappointed with under Steven Gerrard and were shocked by Cholak FC and everything like that. I'd actually argue this side that we face this week is actually more dangerous and probably better from an individual point of view than the last couple of Malmo sides we've seen. Arguably, maybe the most dangerous side, as again, they've just got pieces sprinkled everywhere, led by Eric up top. I mean, we've not even talked about Pena so far. No, the one we used to have, but he's a very good, talented midfielder that just makes everything run. The wee number 8 you'll see the more during the actual game. We've not even mentioned him. We've not even mentioned some of the other key players that's major spines in their team. We've just sort of went for the free areas that I think is going to be the most important. But aye, as an overall side, they are very, very talented. But again, so far on the European stage, they've not been able to show it completely. So fingers crossed that continues tomorrow. And with that being said, that means we can move away from the Malmo side and get to the Rangers side. And it's hard not to pick up to where we were sort of discussing right there, because again, the key areas, the key matchups and everything are going to be so vital in the game. And again, I did mention Tavernier earlier on for the Malmo video, and I know maybe on paper it would be the perfect game to put in somebody that can actually run, because by God is the warning signs flashing. But I think Clement's made it pretty clear that Tav's going to be his guy again this season, and Tav will be starting this game. So we're not going to talk about whether or not Tavernier's going to start and that's going to be the main talking point. No, to me, I'm going to move up one, ladies and gentlemen, because if Tavernier starts in this game, he's clearly going to need a lot of help defensively, as that's the way they play, especially if they're lining up in the 3-4-3, which will have two wingers pretty much on Tavernier running all damn day, which takes me to the interesting conversation about who starts at right centre mid, if you actually will. And for me, it might just end up being Sterling, who, yes, was substituted off at the weekend for being and playing pretty damn poorly, but if you're ever going to put him in there to maybe help Tavernier out defensively and cover up that side and solidify that side, it's against Malmo the Mora, if I'm being brutally honest with you, as he will be badly needed. So I wouldn't be shocked and surprised. My eyebrows not going to go up if I see him start again despite being substituted off. It does make sense, but again, it does leave us with maybe not really the talent in the middle of the park in terms of being on the ball that maybe we'll need in a European thing. So for me, that's going to be interesting, because I trust Barron on the left centre mid spot, if you actually will, to be able to help Big Jeff doing that left hand side. He can run all day, but if I've got one running this way and we've got one running this way, you know exactly where I'm going here. There's a massive gap in the middle, and we've seen that too many times this season. So for me, it's going to be a very big call on what Clement goes ahead and actually does. For me, as good as Lawrence has been over the last couple games and all that, I don't think we can put him in there to be the one-man midfield. Maybe you have to then put Diamande in there. Do you play Raskin instead of Sterling? It's a very interesting call, but again, this is why he's the Rangers manager. This is what he was supposed to be good at when he was at Monaco and when he was at Club Brugge. These big European nights, changing and making a strong midfield. Well, I've not seen it in the big games versus Celtic so far. Our midfield's always been really poor in those games. Well, I need to see it tomorrow. So is it going to be Sterling? Is it going to be Raskin? Is it going to be Diamande at the 10? We'll wait and see. All I will say, ladies and gentlemen, if it's Barron, Diamande and Tom Lawrence, I'll be very nervous. But moving away from the key matchups, or at least what I think is the key matchups in the game, again, just as a match itself and an opportunity for us to put another step in the progression ladder, this is a major opportunity for us tomorrow just to keep that continued, maybe goodwill factor building up. It's righted the wrongs of what's happened so far this season, or the Celtic game, or any of this or that, but all we can do is win and move forward as a team. We're now bleeding in the new players. They have injected something into us, and again, tomorrow is a great opportunity away on a European stage to just get another wee notch up, get everybody feeling a wee bit better, and give these new players the opportunity, and again, bleed them in from the European stage, because it is a little bit different, right? Because if you look at Malmo and if you look at previous years actually in terms of the Europa League, we know what these normally first games are, especially when you're away from home. You just keep it tight and then you take it back to Ibrox in the reverse leg and you go ahead and beat them. That was always the mentality, so you always knew sort of where you're going. But that game plan is ripped up for both sets of teams, by the way, because now it's one or done. You have your set amount of games and that is it. You'll not play the same team twice. You need to pretty much win every home game if you want to get to the next stage of Europe and bask in all that new European money. So Malmo, who already come out guns firing anyway, will be absolutely piling people forward, doubling up on Tab, doubling up on jefte. They will be trying to score goals, and as they do, commit everybody forward, and as they do, trying to grab a win versus Rangers, which again, we won't like to hear, but when their fans will be looking at it and when their team will be looking at it, this is a 3 points they should pick up. We didn't like saying it, but that's what they'll be thinking. They'll be so positive, they'll be so bright, and they'll be going, committing everybody forward, that it gives us the opportunity. If we can get the balls to the right players now, we've got the likes of Barami, the Cherny, the guys with the eye, with the ball, there should be clear opportunities to counter-attack, and that will play completely in our favour, because there's no keep it tight and see what we can do away from home, or keep it tight and keep it for when we're back at house. No, it's a one or done shootout, and all the pressure is on the home team to get this win. So for me, that gives us the opportunity to sting at the tail. And honestly, Big Dessers might just be it. It's all on the hands of Dessers, because I think he will get a lot of chances tomorrow, because everything I've seen of this team is bombing everybody forward. The back three, will be a wee bit difficult to break down, especially if Dessers is completely isolated. If we approach this game as a part of the bus, it's going to drive us absolute mental. But if we're just getting off on the ball and we're no wasteful and we've got the legs that we need, there should just be one ball in, one ball in, one ball in every time. And hopefully CD9 takes the chances and Disney freeze in another big game, because we might just come away with a major good win and a perfect start to a Europa League campaign, which again didn't look so bright not too long ago, but with the new players getting bled in, there is a bit of optimism there. Hopefully our stubbornness in terms of personnel and not making the big changes that needs to be made doesn't come back to haunt us, as on paper they're weaknesses, but again, games are never played on paper, and I can just hope we can turn it all and strike this team and scare this team, because the one thing again we mentioned during Malmo is so far at home they've not been able to get the big results they need, because there's a lot of pressure on them, because the way they play, they give so many opportunities to the opposition, and so far those oppositions have been good enough. The PA OK and the Sparta Pragues have been good enough to take them, which has then made the crowd nervous, which has then made Malmo nervous, and it's made them play poorly. Are we going to be good enough to take them? I don't know. That's why it's all on Dessers. And that's truthfully all I've really got to add regarding the Rangers then as well. There is a major opportunity there. I know there's a lot of doom and gloomers there, but again, this team's so attacking. If we can just get the ball to the right players, we might just hurt them that way. And again, it's all down to the approach if Phil Clement, which I have questioned in a lot of big games, but this is where he made his name for Bruges and Monaco, the big European nights. Will he get it right this time? I certainly hope so, ladies and gentlemen. Now all that's left is for the players to go out there and do their things, and hopefully it's a very successful, happy night. Now again, I did mention this at the weekend for the guys that just watched the recaps. If you are wondering where it is and everything like that, if the result goes bad for say and we get beat or something like that, or something goes wrong and you didn't see me uploading tomorrow night, I'm no hiding or anything. I've never hid, you know what I mean? I always post it, but yet there's this narrative, if I take a certain amount of time to post videos, I'm hiding. I'm just travelling straight back from Sweden back to the UK within 2 hours of the game ending, so I'm not sure if I've got enough time to film a match reaction then get back. So what's most likely is you will get your Malmo reaction, win, lose or draw, round about Friday at 12 o'clock, round about lunchtime. That should be when it goes live, all gone well. I just wanted to say that again, because the last time we went to a European away day and it took me this, people thought I was hiding because it was a bad result. And no, it just sometimes takes time depending on how the flights work out. So don't panic, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you hopefully smiling Friday 12 with a massive smile on the Nasher, enjoying a perfect start to the Europa League. That would be very nice. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you're doing or where you're watching from, hopefully you enjoy the actual game. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comments section below. And as always, I've been CJ92. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.